Thank you for joining us for our next session, Participating in the FOP Registry with Registry Manager Sammi Kile. Sammi has been managing the FOP Registry here at the International FOP Association for the last year. She's going to be telling you more about it and how you can get involved. Over to you, Sammi.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for stopping by today. I'm going to give an overview of the FOP Registry and the importance of participating. Please know this registry is constantly evolving and improving, so if you do or have experienced any tech issues with logins or passwords or related matters, you can always contact me by email and I will help get you in contact with the help desk, or I can always try to help you to the best of my limited tech capabilities. So with that, let's get started. So what is the FOP Registry? The FOP Registry is the only database for FOP, and it is the largest and most in-depth database of clinical and medical information about FOP and those who are living with the disease. The registry was started by and for patients initially, but now we have grown to include physicians as well. The FOP Registry collects information like demographics, diagnosis, medical care, bone growth, symptoms of possible flare-ups, your use of mobility aids, and we also ask questions about your quality of life. The FOP Registry is updated occasionally with questions that many physicians in FOP find to be important in FOP research to further their understanding of FOP and improve care or clinical trials. Each survey that is completed makes a tremendous impact on the growth of our registry, which in turn has a great impact on our understanding of FOP. So what is the purpose of the registry? The FOP Registry's purpose is to help those living with FOP today and to also collect longitudinal data to help understand FOP and help future generations. The information provided and collected by the registry will also help providers to provide better care now as they gain insightful information that wasn't previously available. Through this, your contributions can help accelerate FOP research and enable clinical trials. The importance of the FOP Registry is in the information it can provide to FOP community researchers and physicians. The contribution of patient data can really help longitudinally to understand FOP, and this better understanding will help researchers design clinical trials with this data in mind, which could accelerate the development of treatments and eventually a cure. Physicians and researchers have access to information gathered from the registry, which is de-identified through data requests. This information gained from data requests can provide powerful insights into the ways we can better manage your care, and ultimately the more information we have, the more we can understand about FOP. The more we understand, the more effective and efficient we can be in our research efforts and goals. We are constantly learning from the registry, but a wonderful thing about this is that you can learn too. For example, if you are experiencing hearing issues, do you ever wonder how many others are also experiencing hearing issues? As you can see, 45% of patients in the FOP Registry report symptoms affecting their ears. 34% of participants report skin problems, and 28% report problems associated with sleeping and breathing. With this information, we have created annual reports that are available to the FOP community, so you can see how your data is being used and how others with FOP are affected in similar ways. In the near future, this information will be available to participants once they have completed a survey in their participant dashboard. To emphasize how we are learning from the registry, with the information we have been able to uncover and learn and improve from, we are able to improve our education and outreach efforts to the greater medical community, which has an impact on shortening the road to diagnosis. Currently, the road to diagnosis is significantly shorter because of information like this, and most people are now diagnosed correctly by the age of 3, and this is significantly earlier than prior generations. What we have learned from you tells us where we should focus our energy and efforts. For example, as you can see, 44% saw a pediatrician at symptom onset. That tells us where we should focus our advocacy and awareness efforts on targeting and educating pediatricians so they understand FOP and are more aware of the signs and symptoms so they can accurately diagnose patients or refer patients rather than providing an incorrect diagnosis. As we can see, 53% of patients have started with an incorrect diagnosis. This information really helps us to focus our advocacy and awareness efforts to try and figure out where to target that awareness. Only 13% received a correct diagnosis from a pediatrician. So as you can see, the information that you can provide through the registry really is valuable in driving where we focus our efforts to help the FOP community. 2 portals, 1 purpose. As I stated, this registry really began with the patient portal in 2015. We now have the physician portal as well, which was opened in 2019, and is now ready for FOP physicians to begin entering data on their FOP patients. In the patient portal, you simply submit a survey every 6 months on your FOP symptoms and your lifestyle over the last 6 months since your last survey. In the physician portal, physicians are invited to enter clinical information about FOP patients and their diagnosis, symptoms of possible flare-ups, and additional signs and symptoms. We encourage physicians to enter this information at least once a year. However, as an FOP patient, you have the choice to participate in either portal or both. So your physician will not enter information about you into her physician portal until you have provided written consent. You can participate in the registry on your own or with a parent if you are under the age of 18 by going to our website and creating your account. You'll then fill out your enrollment survey, and then you'll be asked to complete a survey every 6 months. For the physician portal, you'll be asked for permission to enter data on you and your FOP. There is also the ability for your physician to see the information you enter in your patient portal if you consent to it. By agreeing to have the physician portal linked to the patient portal, we are able to have a more comprehensive understanding of FOP. And as the end of last week, we have over 400 participants registered in the registry, and we have over 67 countries participating in the registry, which is approximately 42%. A lot of this is because we have translated the registry into 7 languages, which has helped us with our global representations. And those languages are Russian, Portuguese, Spanish, French, Italian, German, and English. So why should you participate? You may think that 1 is just a number, but there is power in numbers. Each contribution has the ability to offer a new insight to academic and pharmaceutical researchers, which has a profound impact on their research efforts and designs of clinical trials. Your contribution will help you and other patients and their families better understand FOP. The registry has already been effective in helping doctors better understand FOP and further their research efforts, so the potential each contribution has is limitless. We have also seen many FOP physicians benefit from the data in the registry, as this information helps them better care for their patients. Okay, getting started. Okay, so now that you know why the registry is so important, we can go over how you can get started. First, you'll go to fopregistry.org and click the Join Now link. Here you'll go through the steps to create your account. Once you have created your account, you're ready to begin the enrollment survey. This enrollment survey is lengthier than the follow-up surveys, as it asks questions about your diagnosis and also asks for a report that confirms your FOP diagnosis. This is an important step in the enrollment process in order to verify that you are a patient with FOP or a caregiver of a patient with FOP. You need to upload a lab or diagnosis report that confirms your diagnosis with FOP. So it's a good idea to have that handy. If you do not have this report, you have the ability to state your affiliation with an FOP organization, and we can verify that through a contact name that you provide. The enrollment survey will take about 30 minutes to about an hour. All follow-up surveys are significantly less, especially once you get familiar with the content of the questionnaire. We want you to know that all information is kept anonymous and your information is de-identified. We collect your contact information, use that for follow-up survey reminders as well as for registry-related announcements, but we do not share that information. Physicians and researchers can request data from our registry, but that information is de-identified, and we also make sure every research request is verified research. Last year, we also launched the FOP mobile app for iOS devices, and we are currently working on developing the Android version of the app. These provide another platform for survey completion, so you don't have to do it on the computer tied to a desk. So after you go through the step-by-step enrollment process on the site, you'll have completed the enrollment survey. It is important to know you can always take a break and come back to where you left off and enter your information. Because this is a secure site, the site will lock if you're idle for a period of time, but once you enter your login information, you'll be able to start off where you last left off. Once you complete your enrollment survey, the clock starts, and every 6 months you'll be asked to fill out your enrollment survey, and you will receive reminders in your email about your upcoming surveys. So what information is needed? As you can see, the enrollment survey requests more information about you, including the informed consent form as well as your demographics and diagnosis. This is one-time information, and in your follow-up surveys, you will not need to provide that information. You only need to provide the standard forms on your follow-up surveys, where you describe your medical care, your FOP signs and symptoms, complete quality of life questionnaires, list your aids and devices, and share any adaptations you have made in the last 6 months. I want you to know that every little bit of information is important, and every part of your story helps us understand FOP a little bit more. You may think that since nothing has happened in the last 6 months, you don't need to fill out a survey, but reporting that nothing has happened is something, and it is important for us to know. So never diminish the importance of your information. We truly value every piece you contribute. As this slide says, some of your time just twice a year can mean so much to so many. We need everyone with FOP to enroll to help this registry reach its fullest potential. I encourage you to reach out to members within your FOP community and region and ask them to sign up. Through the registry, you have the ability to tell researchers and physicians what is going on in FOP. Again, this is an important contribution to research efforts. If you haven't signed up, please consider participating. And if you're unsure if you are in the registry, please contact me and I'm happy to check. And again, if you do need help, it's very easy. Just contact help@fopregistry.org, or you can contact me and I'm happy to find the right person to help you if it is outside of my tech abilities. Also, to give you a little encouragement, we launched the FOP Registry Reward program last year, and I've seen great interest in participating due to this reward program. We know the surveys demand time, and we want to thank every registry participant who completes an entire survey by giving them a $25 Visa gift card. This program is open to new and existing registry participants and is really just to show how thankful we are for you and your contribution. And finally, we launched the FOP Registry in 2015. The first 3 years were entirely supported by the IFOPA, and donations from you and others helped build the registry. Now, as the registry is continuing to grow and expand, we are grateful to these companies for their sponsorship and support. Blueprint, Ipsen, and Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Don't adjust your screen. I am Adam Sherman. I'm the research director for the IFOPA, and I'm just covering for Sammi, who is currently out of the office right now. So hopefully that provided some good background on the FOP registry, which is an important asset that the IFOPA supports. If you have any questions, please place it into the Q&A tab, which you can find on the left side of your screen, and we'll try to address them. So just first question is about apps for the registry. So we have currently developed a iPhone app that you can participate in the registry. So you could download it from the App Store, and we are working on developing a app for the Android phone. So those of you who use Android will be able to also participate from your phone. We're anticipating that to be ready in 2021, but our iPhone app is currently ready today. Again, if you have any questions, submit it into the Q&A section of your platform, and we'll address it. Next question is, how long does it take to participate in the registry? So when you, there's the baseline registry that you complete when you first sign up. And we generally recommend to set aside anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes to complete the baseline survey. That's because we ask some additional information about your FOP. But the next time you complete the survey at 6 months or 12 months, it will go much faster. We generally hear it takes between, say, 20 and 30 minutes to complete your follow-up surveys. Again, that's at the 6-month time point, 12-month time point, and then every 6 months. So we have a question. Yeah, so we get this quite a bit. We have a question about how do we find out if you've previously registered. So there are really 2 steps. You have to first register, and then you're able to start participating in. And some people register, but then they do not go back and complete their baseline assessments. So please email help@fopregistry.com. I'll put it in the chat box for everybody. If you email help@fopregistry.com, we can check whether or not you're currently registered. We can help reset passwords and get you up and going so you can begin participating. So good question. Other questions? Okay. So for more information on the registry, we have a lot of content translated in multiple languages on the ifopa.org website. So if you have additional questions, sorry, I just received another question. So if you have technical questions, please, you can email me at adam.sherman@ifopa.org or help@fopregistry.org. Let me put my, I'm going to put my email in so everyone has it, please. Oh, thank you, Karen. So the email is already in there. Please send an email if you have any technical issues or you have any questions. We'll make sure we address those. Once you get set up, you're pretty much locked in and it's pretty easy to continue, but sometimes there are some questions as you're getting registered, and we're always there to help you get up and running. So let me just double check, see if there. So there's a very good question. Can registry questions be adapted and changed over time? And that's a great question. So the answer is yes. We developed the registry in July of 2015, and what we know about FOP continues to change over time, and what we think is important to ask does change over time. So we do update the registry with new questions because our knowledge base evolves, and the questions we want to know also evolve. So we do modify the registry. It's a balance, though. We don't want to overburden participants by asking too many questions, but we also want to make sure we're asking the right sets of questions. So there is a process that we go through when we add any new questions, and that involves working with our medical advisory board. Okay, there's a question here about, for what purposes will the registry be used? How will it benefit FOP research and knowledge? Good question. So the registry helps us understand the natural course of FOP over time. So this allows us to know how people with FOP continue to, how their disease develops over time. It lets us know on an individual basis, but also lets us know on a kind of a holistic, higher level basis. So overall, how patients respond. This data is asked by researchers who are looking to better understand FOP better. It's used by clinical trial sponsors to help them design better clinical trials. And eventually, we think regulators will have an interest in using data from our registry to help explain questions that they may have as they review some of these medicines that are coming for regulatory review. We do publish our data. We have several publications. Two manuscripts, actually 3 manuscripts have been published to date with data on the registry. So we're starting to collect a lot of insightful information and beginning to publish on those. All right, there's a good question on personal information. Are you contacted before sharing personal information to a third party? Great question. So the short answer is your privacy when you participate in the registry is the most important thing to us at the IFOPA. We do everything we can to ensure that your personal information is not shared with anyone. In fact, there are only really a handful of people in the IFOPA and through our CROs that actually have access to this data. We never share personal information with anyone. Even physicians or researchers, they will not have access. All your information, when you put in your information into the registry, is de-identified, meaning it will not say your name, it will not say where you're from. You're assigned a registry number, and that number is how people are keeping tabs on specific data. But your personal information is never shared. And most of the data that we report out is at a aggregate level. So we may say, for example, on average, how many patients with FOP may have pain over a year period, for example. We don't get into individual patient data. It is generally presented at an aggregate level, which even ensures further that your personal information does not get compromised. Okay, another great question. If we participated in a clinical trial, would we have automatically been enrolled in the registry, or is it completely separate? So the registry is a clinical study. It is a separate clinical study than any other clinical trials. In fact, when you go and register, one of the things you have to fill out is an informed consent that gives permission and tells you about the study and any inherent privacy risks, which we just mentioned previously. So by participating in any other clinical study, whether it's the biobank, whether it is the clinical trial conducted by some of the companies you've heard from over the past couple days, it is separate. So you need to register and sign a separate consent to be part of the registry. I'll just make one other comment. If you become a member of the IFOPA, that is not being part of the registry. You have to go through a separate process to participate in the registry from becoming a member of the IFOPA. Those are two very distinct processes. So if you want to participate, again, go to FOPregistry.com and you can learn more about a registry. You go through a separate enrollment process. So good question. Let's see. Another question, how long will the registry run and how do you see it evolving over time? So typically, that's a unique thing about registries versus, say, natural history studies. These are very different purposes. The registries are typically indefinite. So we don't have a necessarily end date put on the study. Because we collect standard course of care with treating people with FOP, and that standard of care changes over time. Currently, we have no approved therapies, but once we do, we will continue to collect that data and learn more about the clinical outcomes of those medicines once they become approved. So you'll see that the knowledge that we learn over FOP will constantly change, and our needs will constantly change. So that's why we currently do not have an end date. It's indefinite right now for our registry. Let's see if there's any other questions. Okay. Again, thank you, everyone. Just want to, first off, thank, this registry is run by our medical advisory board. They oversee the conduct of the registry. So I just want to say thank you to our medical advisory board members for their input and their time for managing our registry. I want to thank our sponsors, as Sammi mentioned, Blueprint Medicines, Ipsen, as well as Regeneron for their current sponsorship of the registry. And then I also want to thank all the participants who've taken the time out of their busy schedules to put in their information about FOP and to continue to support this important asset that we have, which will benefit the overall community, the overall research community, and clinical community. So thank you very much. Just a quick note, we are ending somewhat. Oh, hold on. There may be more questions. Bear with me, everyone. Let's see, no, I think we have them all. So thank you. So for next steps, we're ending a little bit early, so you get a bonus 20 minutes back in your schedule. But please rejoin at 1 p.m. Eastern time to learn more about fundraising efforts, which goes to support everything you've seen over the past few days. Catherine Royce does a great job of presenting fundraising efforts, and that is at 1 p.m. So with that, thank you for participating in the session, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.